Sean P Diddy Combs' trial is set to start on May 5th. What does the Bazi Chinese astrology predict as this being the start of the trial and the potential outcome for it? So welcome, my name is Lydia Griffith. This is the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. Often I like to read the charts of famous people because I think it does help us to better understand our own astrology and our own charts. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If this sparks interest for you, please subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Thank you so much for being here. So P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, all his names, is born November 4th, 1969. And we can put this at 12 noon because there is at least one astrologer out there, Media, who was, I think it's called Born This Way is the video, where they were saying that they think he is a Capricorn rising. So that aside, when I look at his Bazi Chinese astrology in relation to the luck cycle he's currently in and the trial date, and I've covered this before, I'll actually put a link in the description so you can go back and look at the original video. One of the things about this in the broader scheme of things is I talked about this period 9 in Flying Stars Feng Shui that we are currently in is very much about the element fire. It's ruled by the element of fire, which is celebrity. It's about Hollywood. It's about fame. It's about the arts. And much like we saw with the Me Too movement and Harvey Weinstein, the documentaries that have come out about what was really going on for these child stars like of Disney and Nickelodeon, all of that has been exposing the dark underbelly of this industry that's been there, I think, from its inception, of adults being predators of children, of men abusing their power in order for people to get their roles in Hollywood. And so when we look at these parties, and the way that P. Diddy Combs was doing business, it is shocking. And the number of people involved, I think, could further throw a crack in Hollywood as we know it and the entire industry. And many people have said this could be the beginning of the end of the idea of a Hollywood. It's not that movies go away. It's just that culture of celebrity is shifting. So looking at this trial date, it's set to begin in the year Yin Wood Snake, the month Yang Metal Dragon. Why? Because it's the last full day of April, according to the Chinese calendar. So even though it's May 5th, it is still not the month of May. Then we look at the day is a Yang Wood dog. All right. So the dog and the dragon are enemies. So this is a conflicted day. This is a day that I would have an X on my calendar because collectively, this is speaking of opposition, confrontation, two powers banging up against each other. And what is this all banging up? This is a challenge to his career. This also impacts his family, his daughters specifically. And as someone who is born on the day of Yin Water Sheep, And the sheep is often a musician. It is often somebody who works in the arts, having to do with music, right? And he's born in the year of a yin earth rooster, someone who wants to be seen and heard. Also very flaunting of his colors. Very stylish. And if his hour is actually known, if he was born between 11 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, it would show that his career path is very strong, and the horse is very much about passion, being impulsive, possibly reckless. And, you know, there is a shadow side to all of these horoscopes. When we look at the worst of the horse, we see somebody temperamental, impatient, who's got a hot, angry temper, is irresponsible, is an opportunist. They see a young man who's got a potential career ahead of him, and he knows exactly what he needs to do to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Unscrupulous. The light side of the horse is somebody that's generous and brave and enterprising and gregarious, very to the point, very youthful and enthusiastic, works on their own. And so within that career path is multiple love affairs, infidelity, health, making money from various streams of revenue, a patriarchal approach of being someone influential and in power. And it shows his career being something that is really pushes him. There's a lot of critics in the room. There are a lot of people coming down on him. So there is this juxtaposition with meeting the responsibilities of his job and also being challenged in all of that. One of the things that shows up on this trial date for Sean P Diddy Combs is a full earth penalty with his day of the sheep, the day the trial starts, that's the dog, and his life pillar, the hidden part of his chart, which is an ox. And this is like a hidden penalty in his chart. It is something that is about, that is personal to him, and it's personal to his career. Yeah. So this penalty hits him, and again, it is a personal assault. It is an overwhelming force of earth. He is a yin water person. Now, this is something that is pretty disturbing. As a yin water person, his chart is over 50% earth. Because he's born in the month of the dog, it means that as a yin water person, he is overwhelmed by what rules him, by the power that he has in his career. It is an overwhelming force of control. The interesting thing is that what was controlling him, he used to his advantage, to use that to control others. Fascinating, right? So all this to be said, there is a lot of challenge going on this day of the trial. The month of the month of April for him speaks specifically of this lawsuit, the lawsuits against him, the threat that this has to his career, his ability to take action, and his sovereign self are all under attack here. But the overarching active part of the month of April, leading up to the trial that begins on the last day of April, is all about this lawsuit, these lawsuits and the court and all of it, okay? So this whole year is about him taking action. It is an action-oriented year, and it is about his celebrity, his money, his reputation, his property. Under this is his career, his daughters, his responsibilities, and everything having to do with the law. The day that the trial begins is a Yang Wood dog. The Yang Wood speaks of action that is rebellious, retaliatory. Lot of things are changing. So it can feel destabilizing given the fact that there is all this earth that is penalizing his chart. It is weakening him. I actually had the feeling of this is almost like he's being smothered. It's like a little pool of water on the beach, and the beach is he's just evaporating. There's no branch in his chart of water. He is only, of his watery self, there is only 9%. It's a good thing he has a balanced amount of metal to support him. But when you look at the elements of this day, it is all output, except for that yang metal, which is all about the lawsuit and legal issues. So even that turns into a sort of a penalty. All right. And going forward, you've got to remember that when something begins, right? Like when a TV show launches, when a marriage is made, when you sign the contract for buying a home, it marks the journey of that relationship or that home ownership, all the things. This marks the trajectory of the trial going forward. And he starts it with a full earth penalty. And again, it is personal to him. This is an overwhelming force that is draining him of his life force as a water person. If there were water in this astrology for this day, I would think, this is great. This is going to give him some sustenance. This is going to boost him up. But I don't see that. I think this is a man who is losing his power. The ability to manipulate the power that was over him, where he was utilizing it, is now working against him. And as we move through this time of his life that began in 2018, his current lux cycle brings in a full fire trio and a semi-metal trio. This is lighting up his career. It is lighting up his money, property, fame, marriages, romantic relationships, and his career, the yin earth sitting on top. Again, all this earth coming down on him. This is a hot, dry decade, 2018 to 2028. And again, as a weak water person, this is a real danger to him, his sovereign self. It's a threat to his livelihood. And it speaks, the yin earth speaks of a massive shift and change and challenge to his career, of being penalized and judged and condemned, defamed. In addition to that, again, the mention of property, of romantic relationships, his wealth. And under that is the law. And his children, his daughters, no, all of his children really, and his responsibilities. So the interesting thing is, if you're wondering what happens in 2028, when he moves into a new luck cycle, it's a Yang Earth dragon. And because this is the start of the trial is with a Yang metal dragon, not as bad, but it feels like he's being smothered. And it is going to be, there was something I was going to mention also. A water person with excessive earth, this is interesting, is a quick-minded person who puts up with anything and waits for the right time to seek revenge. Reputation, loyalty, commitments are all dismissed when the situation turns favorable for him. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So it is very truth-telling, our astrology. You can't run and hide from it, friends. It is right there. This is not an easy time for this guy. And again, it feels like an overwhelming force of earth coming down on him. Not a favorable day for a trial to start. So stay tuned, because if this thing is actually televised and we can follow it, it'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. So until next time, friends, please keep your comments kind and respectful always. Always, always. I'm just reading astrology. And until next time, I do hope that you are well.